To start off the new year, I wanted to do something different. While everyone else is talking about gear they loved or hated in 2023, I'm going to take a different approach. I'm taking a look back 18 years. In 2005, an audiophile company released a product during the iPod craze to capitalize on Apple's success. I stumbled on these headphones many years ago, thought I would give them a shot, and fell in love with them. So much so, in fact, that I bought a second pair for my collection. Smooth, relaxed, easy, soothing, warm, inviting, comfy. These are the words I think of when I listen to this odd, ancient headphone. And when I'm listening to it, looking at my wall of headphones, I know it fails in many respects. Detail, clarity, soundstage, build. Yet, it invokes in me the same affection that I have for my LCD2 Pre-Phasor, the AudioQuest Nighthawk, ZMF Icon, Sony MDR, MA900, Fostex TH500RP, and the Harmonic Dyne Zeus. How could I not talk about these quirky headphones when they, in my mind, sit alongside some amazing competition? Let's start off 2024 with a positive note. Forget the ramblings of audiophile fanboys geeking out over specs, trash-talking each other about golden ears, and contradicting themselves over the newest gear. Take a step back in time with me. Here, we will look at the iCans, Ultrasone's most compact and oddest headphones. The iCans is obviously discontinued, but used to cost $130 when it was released back in 2005. The iCans is an untraditional headphone. It has a weird origami-like folding design. The manual, and actually the sticker on the headphones, warns you to follow the folding instructions exactly or the headphones might break. The iCans is built primarily of plastic. Actually, it's almost entirely plastic, something that is a strong trend with the majority of Ultrasone headphones. The headphones have backward-facing ear cups. I have about an average-sized head and need to extend the headband to maximum so that the iCans actually fit me. The iCans has no padding on the headband, it's merely hard plastic. The ear pads are glued on but can be peeled off. Good luck finding replacements, although one online vendor in Australia did used to sell replacements for the Zino, Z-I-N-O, which is the same headphone as the iCans. Unfortunately, when I contacted them to see if they'd ship to me in the United States, they said no. The ear pads are covered in a cloth material and have fairly soft padding. If you peel the ear pads off, you can see that the drivers are positioned near the bottom of the ear cups. This is the S-Logic in function. The headphones do not creak or wobble. Despite the plastic design, by the way, the iCans feel sturdy. The cable is not detachable, but enters into the ear cups through a reinforced protrusion. As for comfort, surprisingly, the iCans is a fairly comfortable headphone. It's an on-ear design. The clamping force is, I would say, about average. The ear pads are much softer and more padded than those found on the COS Porta Pro and the KPH30i. In fact, the alternative COS ear pads pale in comparison to the stock Ultrasone ear pads on the iCans. I can wear the iCans for about 2 to 3 hours with very little fatigue. Overall, you can tell that Ultrasone put little thought for usability, let's be frank. The iCans is a reaction to the early iPod craze. Ultrasone wanted an eye-catching design that fit the iPod aesthetic, and maybe it succeeded. It has not aged well, I think. What's even more astounding is that Ultrasone charged about $150 for the iCans when they were released. Adjusted for inflation, the iCans 2005 price tag of $150 would now, in 2023, ending 2023, would be around $236. And that is not a bargain for this headphone, let's be honest. So far, you might be thinking that the iCans is a pointless headphone that died long ago. Yes, I completely agree. But it is also a piece of history put in a time capsule from 2005, back when the world financial downfall was still a few years away. Apple could do no wrong because they lacked courage back then. The iPod was crazy exciting and streaming services were not a thing. To me, the iCans is special. It's audiophile history. Unlike DACs and amps, which can easily replicate each other and rarely provide anything materially different, something like the iCans is unique through and through. From the shiny cloth-covered earpads to the backwards-wearing design to the non-detachable short cable, the iCans is from an era where comfort might not have been king, convenience was more about portability rather than functionality, and to be relevant, companies had to do what Apple did, or at least try to mimic the Apple ethos. Right, so that's the reason why I think the iCans is part of history that should not be forgotten. Beyond that, I really like the iCans sound signature. It's mid-centric, with vocals getting all the attention. You know, these days, that tends to mean a sibilant spike that forces you to pay attention. But the iCans is softer and does not accentuate that detail. In Orla Gartland's Why Am I Like This?, the iCans pushed all the instruments behind the vocals, combining them into a mixture that lost separation and detail, and yet did everything to support the vocals. The iCans will reveal multiple vocalists as long as the track is recorded in a way to make sure that you do in fact hear them. Want You Back by Haim is an example. The iCans did reveal the three vocalists, but melded the vocals into one voice when the instruments came in, which, to be honest, remains somewhere in the background still. The bass and treble are present. I'd say that the bass is fairly close to neutral, but it isn't really clear. Sub-bass and mid-bass combine into this semi-bloated field that doesn't distort, but adds this big, thick bass effect that sits somewhere in the midfield of a track. The treble is so relaxed that anybody who is sensitive to that frequency range would probably be happy. Brass and horns are clearly audible, but never sharp or piercing or even close to the ears. They're kept back, distant, like someone draped a thick blanket over a large speaker. And don't even think about arguing that this headphone has detail. It's average at best, no better than the Apos Caspian. Soundstage is, okay, average, about as wide as the HD6XX and the LCD-1. So, what is it about this mediocre performing headphone that makes me like it as much as I actually do? Well, you know that synergy between you and your music? That happens when your mood, environment, and music perfectly sync. You stop thinking about your troubles, for some time forget about your chores, and just enjoy the rhythm. The words and the lyrics don't matter as much as the way that the tones, the mix, and the emotion affects you matters. This is not quantifiable. It has nothing to do with specifications or technological achievement or frequency response graph measurements. It's about letting the music envelop you. Some headphones help you do that better than others. That is the iCans for me. I am really glad I took the plunge and spent the measly $40 for the iCans several years ago. I'm glad I found a second unused pair to add to the collection. This is yet again proof that you don't need the latest thing, the most costly gear, the stuff everybody seems to be hyping, especially those reviewers. It's about you, your music, and those short moments when no matter what is happening around you or to you, you find peace and solace and joy from the sounds and emotions that your music evokes. I don't think there are many of these iCan headphones around. If you find one at a reasonable price, okay, maybe check it out. What I'd rather suggest is that you find that headphone or IEM you fell in love with and dig it out of the pile of discarded gear. Take them for a spin one more time. Appreciate them for what they are. And with that, I would like to welcome us all into 2024. Happy New Year, and I hope that in this next 12 months, we find gear and music that resonates with us.